Imagine you walk into a room full of people. You greet everyone warmly, offer to help wherever needed, and make sure not to upset anyone. You smile, nod, and agree with what people say. But as the night ends, you realize something. No one truly noticed you. No one remembers anything you said. You were present, but you were invisible. This is the paradox of being too nice. Many people believe that being nice is the ultimate virtue, that it will make them liked, accepted, and appreciated. While kindness is essential in life, there is a tipping point where being overly accommodating makes you fade into the background. Instead of being respected and valued, you become an afterthought. This is not about abandoning kindness, but rather understanding why excessive agreeableness leads to invisibility, and what can be done to stand out without compromising who you are. When someone is too nice, they often suppress their own opinions, desires, and boundaries for fear of conflict or rejection. They adopt a people-pleasing mentality, thinking that harmony is the key to being loved. However, this approach backfires. People unconsciously sense that such a person does not bring their authentic self into interactions. Without a unique perspective, a sense of confidence, or an edge, they become just another friendly but forgettable presence. In social dynamics, people remember those who evoke emotions, express interesting ideas, or stand firm in their beliefs. A person who is always agreeable does not create friction, not in a negative sense, but in a way that sparks meaningful discussion or admiration. People who stand out often challenge perspectives, introduce new ways of thinking, and establish a solid sense of self. Being too nice prevents this from happening. Another problem with excessive niceness is that it often breeds resentment. Not only do others fail to take such a person seriously, but the nice person themselves begins to feel unappreciated. They go out of their way to help, support, and cater to others, yet they find that the same energy is not reciprocated. Over time, frustration builds up. They may even start to feel used or undervalued, which leads to bitterness and confusion. But the reality is that people tend to value those who set their own value, and a person who constantly puts themselves second is inadvertently teaching others to see them as secondary as well. In relationships, excessive niceness can lead to a lack of attraction and respect, whether in friendships, professional settings, or romantic relationships. People gravitate toward individuals who are confident, assertive, and willing to express their own needs and boundaries. If someone is too accommodating, they may come across as desperate for approval, rather than as a strong, independent individual. This is particularly evident in dating, where those who are overly nice often find themselves friend-zoned or overlooked in favor of people who have a sense of mystery and self-assuredness. Fixing this issue does not mean becoming rude, aggressive, or insensitive. It simply means recalibrating how kindness is expressed. The key is to be nice in a way that commands respect, rather than passivity. This involves developing a strong sense of self-worth and communicating it confidently. Instead of agreeing to everything, practice asserting opinions, even if they are unpopular. Instead of constantly putting others first, recognize that self-respect requires setting boundaries and saying no when necessary. One of the most effective ways to become more noticeable is by embracing authenticity. People are drawn to those who are genuine. Authenticity does not mean being harsh or disagreeable for the sake of it, but it does mean being honest about personal values, desires, and limitations. When someone communicates with conviction and does not bend to every whim, they automatically become more intriguing and respected. Additionally, learning to tolerate discomfort is crucial. Being too nice often stems from a fear of disapproval. People worry that if they say no, express disagreement, or assert themselves, they will lose friends or opportunities. But the reality is that most people respect those who stand their ground. Discomfort in the short term, whether it is saying no to an unreasonable request or expressing an unpopular opinion is a small price to pay for long-term respect and visibility. Another key factor is cultivating presence. Presence is not just about physically being in a room, but about being felt and remembered. This requires confidence in communication, the ability to listen actively, and a willingness to engage in deeper, more meaningful conversations, rather than simply making polite small talk. People who make an impact in conversations often bring value, whether through humor, knowledge, or compelling storytelling. Being too nice often results in playing it safe, but those who stand out are willing to share bold ideas and take up space in a conversation. It is also essential to break free from the validation trap. Many excessively nice individuals seek external validation to feel worthy. They believe that if they accommodate everyone, they will be loved. However, true self-worth comes from internal validation. The most respected people are those who are kind, yet do not seek constant approval. They know their value and do not need excessive niceness to prove it. Another important shift is to embrace assertiveness. Assertiveness is not aggression, it is clarity. It is expressing thoughts, desires, and boundaries with confidence and without guilt. This can be as simple as declining an invitation without over-explaining, standing firm in decisions without wavering, or offering a differing opinion without fear. People respect those who communicate clearly and directly. Being too nice also often leads to a lack of self-prioritization. People pleasers tend to put their own goals and desires on the back burner, constantly prioritizing the needs of others. But people who make an impact in the world are those who chase their own ambitions unapologetically. They help others, but not at the expense of their own dreams. By pursuing personal growth, skills, and interests, a person naturally becomes more engaging, magnetic, and respected. Finally, it is important to accept that not everyone will like you, and that is okay. The desire to be universally liked often fuels excessive niceness, but this is an impossible goal. Even the most successful, admired, and charismatic people have critics. Instead of striving to be liked by everyone, focus on being respected by those who truly matter. At the core of this transformation is a mindset shift. Instead of thinking that being liked is the highest goal, understand that being respected, valued, and remembered holds far greater weight. Niceness, when balanced with confidence and self-assurance, becomes a powerful tool rather than a weakness. So, if you have ever felt invisible despite being kind, remember that it is not kindness itself that is the issue. It is how it is framed. The solution is not to stop being nice, but to be nice with a strong foundation of self-respect, authenticity, and confidence. The world does not need more people who agree with everything and everyone. It needs people who stand firm, who bring their true selves into every interaction, and who understand that kindness and strength are not opposites, they are allies.